Well, it was a pay-per-view. Or maybe just, I don't know, elongated version of Raw. Matter of fact, probably is about the same as Raw. The only thing missing were commercial breaks. Oh, wait a minute. That's the stuff in between the matches were. They pretty much were commercial breaks. And there were several points in the show tonight that I just kind of looked up and was waiting for Michael Cole to say, and we'll be back on Monday Night Raw. He even paused during the Brie Bella AJ Lee match to do just that. So we're in Disney here, and we're going to talk Battleground. And first off, I'm going to apologize off the top. For the last 2 weeks, there's been no Raw recap. There's been no SmackDown recap. There's been no NXT recap. And there would have been one this weekend, but I kind of just wanted to start from scratch. So here's what we're going to do. I'm doing Battleground right now. Tomorrow, I'm doing Raw. And on Tuesday, me, Will, and Ben are going to be going to SmackDown in Columbus. So we'll be doing a special live SmackDown report. Live recap from SmackDown. Pop goes to SmackDown. And you ask me, Owen, if you're not going to do SmackDown on Friday, what are we going to get for Saturday's video? Well, I thought I would watch some NXT from the last few weeks, so I actually catch up on all the NXT I'd missed. And I still have Impact Wrestling to do as well. And of course, I will be making all that this week. And of course, this coming weekend, I know it's already the weekend, but a week from this weekend will be AJ's movie reviews on Friday, and we have Versus on Sunday. Your cryptic comment is family. So put that together and realize which scary movie Versus we're doing this week. I have not got to talk about Halloween Horror Nights on camera yet. I had an amazing time. An absolutely amazing time. And I'm going to have a really awesome recap video in the near future that I actually am going to be shooting sometime soon. But I don't know when that's going to be. But fear not, kiddies, it will happen. Not a problem. I went to go get some frozen lemonade a little bit ago. Actually, I froze my Crystal Light lemonade in the freezer, and it's not frozen yet. So hopefully by the time this review's over, it'll be frozen, then I can eat that before I go to bed. Because I actually have to go back to work tomorrow. Which is crazy because I haven't worked since before I left. Yes, I have not worked a day at my job since September 18th. Unbelievable. Hopefully, hours will go back to normal once we start getting movies. Not going to be anything for next week. I don't think anything will come out of the week after. So, might have to wait till November before we actually start getting movies. But hopefully, things will go back to normal. So, you want to talk the pay-per-view tonight? Certainly, we'll do that. So, Battleground. Battleground was live in Buffalo, New York, actually. So, it was a very interesting edition of Raw, and that's pretty much what it was. It was an edition of Raw that people paid $60 for. And I can understand that if you paid for this pay-per-view, you'd be a tad bit perturbed due to the fact that non-finish in the main event, and they actually lost the feed at one point during the show. But we'll talk about that as we progress. Before the show started, of course, as usual now, we have a kickoff match. And the kickoff match for this show was between the former Mr. Money in the Bank, Dolph Ziggler, and the current Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Sandow. And they started off the kickoff match that was broadcast on the WWE app and on YouTube and various networks all across the country. It was not the pay-per-view broadcast. Oh no, it was done completely different. The pay-per-view broadcast 7:30 usually is like this little recap show with Scott Stanford. I haven't watched it in a while, so I'm not sure if that's still correct, but there's always that. So, like we do here on Pop, it's been a while, but if you don't remember, I like to go midway through the match, and on pay-per-view it's a little bit harder because it's kind of guessing where we're going to go for the match, and go all the way to the finish. So, we'll start off with this match, and suplex blocked. Sandow goes for it, and Ziggler reverses inside cradle, 1-2, and a kick out. Snap clothesline on Dolph, and he makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So whip in, high velocity style, sends him hard into the turnbuckle. Snap suplex out of the corner. Sandow makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So he locks on a modified surfboard with the knee firmly planted in between the shoulder blades and the double chicken wing, and turned around into a backslide from Dolph, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the side California leg sweep. And then the Kobito Aki at the elbow of disdain makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. Ziggler with the jawbreaker. And big right hands from Dolph get stopped with a high knee lift. So, Sandow sidesteps the charge, and Sandow gets sidestepped on his charge, and he gets knocked to the apron. He comes off the top. Brian Pillman counter, very appropriate given that it is, sadly, the anniversary of his passing. Which, if you don't know what a Brian Pillman counter is, the person is basically diving off the top rope, and the opponent counters with a drop kick. In this case, it wasn't the face, it was to the shoulder, and pretty much worked on the shoulder the entire match. So after the Pillman counter, he goes for the charge. He misses, ducks the clothesline, hooking clothesline off the ropes from Dolph. Big splash, goes for the 10 punch, and the reverse neck breaker. Goes for the name dropper. He misses. Sandow goes for the Sandow driver, 1-2, and a kick out. Whip in reverse. Sandow goes for a sunset flip. Dolph drops down and goes for the pin, 1-2, and a kick out. Kick to the knee from Sandow. Comes off the ropes. Caught the side neck breaker, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for the terminus. He gets reverse, and the name dropper makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So Ziggler goes for the zigzag, and he gets swatted off, and big splash to the corner, misses. Jackknife covered by Sandow, 1-2, and a kick out. Drops the knee pad. Leaping knee drop, and does not go for a pin. When he gets up to his feet, he picks him up, and 3 huge knee lifts to the face. Whip in reverse, tip up, and he lands on his knee while the pad is down. Of course, he tweaks his knee, and he gets rolled up, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for a diving shoulder block, and he misses. Goes for a scoop slam. Ziggler floats over, lands on his feet, nails the zigzag, 1-2-3. So Dolph wins this match, and he really needed the win, to be totally honest. And Sandow again loses, and he's still Mr. Money in the Bank. He still has the briefcase, so he can cash in that title opportunity anytime he wants. Obviously, because he landed on his knee in this match, it's not going to be tonight, which completely negates the prediction I had from earlier, having a brand new world champion. But I think we'll get to that later. I think as early as maybe SmackDown in Columbus. Possibly. So, we get to our actual pay-per-view match. Our first match on the pay-per-view is a hardcore match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Alberto Del Rio defending against Mr. Pay-Per-View Rob Van Dam, of course, with Ricardo Rodriguez in his corner. So, this was an interesting matchup as well, so we're going to midway through the match like we do here on Pop. So, Van Dam gets a ladder from under the ring. He has a tug of war with Del Rio, and he ends up sending the ladder into the ribs of Del Rio. He goes to the top rope, standing sidekick, and puts the ladder up in the corner. Whips Del Rio into the ladder, and the momentum carries him into the ladder, over the top rope, to the arena floor. So Van Dam goes out, tosses him back in, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So he whips into the ladder. Wheel kick by Van Dam on the Del Rio. And he goes for the Rolling Thunder, the somersault. Well, actually, not really Rolling Thunder. He goes for the somersault into the monkey flip that he normally would go for. When he goes for the somersault, he lands on his feet on the ladder. Del Rio takes it amongst himself to leap up, nails a step-up enziguri kick, knocks him off the ladder, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So he mocks Van Dam with a thumb point, and he gets his trash can from under the ring. So he nails him in the back 3 times, and he goes to the middle rope with the trash can, dives off, and Van Dam catches him with a front drop kick, sends him into the can. So he comes off the ropes, ducks the clothesline. 2 big clotheslines from Van Dam, standing sidekick. front slam on the ladder in the corner, and split-legged moonsault, 1-2, and a kick out. So he sets up the ladder near the ropes. Obviously, he's setting up for Rolling Thunder. 2 high kicks, puts him on the ladder. Basically, the momentum of the 2 kicks knocks him on the ladder, and he goes for Rolling Thunder. Del Rio scoots out of the way, and Van Dam hits nothing but back to steel and hits the ladder. Locks on the cross arm breaker. Ricardo gets in the ring with his bucket, nails ADR with it. Van Dam rolls him up 1-2 and a kick out, so he tosses him outside. He gives Del Rio the bucket. Does Ricardo. He stops momentarily, boots him in the midsection, and they brawl on the floor. Well, Ricardo ends up getting the worst of that and getting seated against the barricade and getting nailed with a stiff kick to the face. So, Van Dam, unbeknownst to Del Rio, is back to his feet. Ladder set up close to Del Rio, and he baseball side drop kicks the ladder into Del Rio. Puts the ladder on his chest on the outside and nails the 5-star frog splash off the ring apron onto Alberto Del Rio, who is laying precariously across the ladder. Very nice. Toss him back in, makes a cover 1-2, and Del Rio kicks out of 2.5. So Van Dam gets the chair. He goes up top going for the Van Terminator. He misses. Del Rio gets the chair and sets it up mid-ring, very Raven Dreamer style. And Van Dam catches him with a jawbreaker. He charges in. Del Rio catches him with a drop toe hold, sending him face first into the chair, but also lodging the arm of Rob Van Dam in the seat of the steel chair. Keep this in mind. So, Del Rio nails the GSK while the arm is still in the chair. And when he lands, he does vicious leaping stomps on the chair, and then he locks Van Dam in the cross arm breaker with the arm firmly planted in the steel chair. Van Dam fights out, but eventually he has to tap out. Alberto Del Rio retains the World Heavyweight Championship. Okay. Rob Van Dam's going away for a while. We don't know at this point if he's actually signed a contract or not. We hear that he might have. We don't know. It's all hearsay until everything's official. Or you see different things. Obviously, you hear different things every day, but you see something different. You gotta capitalize on it, right? So, basically, this was Van Dam's swan song for the present time. So, who feuds with Alberto Del Rio now over the World Heavyweight Championship? Well, there's a case to bring Dolph Ziggler back into it. I think that's a good idea, actually. And put Dolph and Del Rio on a collision course with each other. Then, of course, don't forget, you have Damien Sandow hanging in the wings, waiting for the opportunity to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. And a lot of people are saying we're going to have a Sandow-Del Rio feud for the fall. I don't know about this. They're both heels. Obviously, you're not going to turn Del Rio face, because even though I liked it, most people didn't like Del Rio as a babyface. And Sandow's too pompous to be a babyface, at least in the gimmick that he has currently. But there's always other options. Like I said, Dolph Ziggler's an option. The Miz is an option. There's a lot of directions you can go with this. Excuse me. I'd say the Big Show, but he kind of has his own agenda at this point. But we'll talk about him a little bit later in this review. So we get our next match of the evening, which is a thrown-together tag team match that was made today. The Great Khali and Santino Marella with Hornswoggle taking on Jack Swagger and Antonio Cesaro, the Real Americans. Zeb's Militia, of course, managed by Zeb Coulter. This match was put together just so Cesaro would hit the big giant swing on Khali. I'm fully believing this to be the case. I don't see any doubt in my mind this match was made for any other reason. There's no feud. There's no reason for this match to happen. There's a thrown-together tag team. Santino just came back from television. He's had a couple wins, and he's back on TV now. Khali is kind of an attraction that shows up every once in a while. So there's really no reason to do this match. So, that's funny. I'm reading breaking news about the main event for the show. I'll talk about it in a second. So, Del Rio could possibly be losing the World Heavyweight Championship, I would think, as early as SmackDown this week. I'm not just saying that because I'm going to be at SmackDown this week. I'm saying that because I truly believe that's going to be the case. Do I think Del Rio is World Heavyweight Champion at Hell in a Cell? Nope, I don't, actually. So, we'll see what happens, though. I mean, there's a lot of directions you could go, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, the Real Americans against Khali and Santino. So, we start out with, Start out with Santino and Jack Swagger. Scoop slam, ducks the clothesline, and hits the hip toss. Puts on the Cobra, and Swagger goes off the ring apron. He runs into Hornswoggle, who has his own mini Cobra. Swagger takes it off of him and throws it in the crowd. So, he gets back in, neck snap, tagging Antonio Cesaro, and he nails a Swiss uppercut. So he tags Swagger back in, 4 knees in the midsection on Santino in the corner, and Santino tries to fight his way out of the corner. Cesaro with a snap clothesline, and tag, Swagger bomb, and double boot stop by Cesaro. Goes for the chin lock, the Edelweiss. Santino punches his way out. So he lifts him up and drops him hard into the buckle back first. So he tags Swagger back in and locks in the double chicken wing, and he forearms his way out, side salto on Swagger, tagging to Cesaro, hot tag to Khali, so he nails the overhand right on 2 separate occasions. 5 big elbows, the big chop. Cesaro backs into the opposite corner, gets nailed with another chop. And then there's the brain chop, which of course was the finisher at one point, and he goes for a cover, but Swagger makes the save. Santino ends up getting backdrop to the apron and brain chop on Swagger, so Swagger's down. And Santino nails a pescado on Jack Swagger on the floor. Cesaro charges in, Khali lifts up the elbow, hits the back elbow, Cesaro clips the knee, and yes, hits the giant swing on the great Khali. And it looked amazing. And when he drops him, he basically stacks him up, so he can't kick out. 1, 2, 3. The Real Americans win. Okay, so now what we're saying is this. Cesaro using the giant swing is going to end up making him a babyface. As a matter of fact, there's pretty much been reports that have been made that the Real Americans are splitting up very soon, and Cesaro's going to go babyface. I don't have a problem with this, because if Cesaro's a babyface and the fans are with him, it might get him pushed faster, to be totally honest. And that's what I want to see. I want to see Antonio Cesaro with a World Heavyweight Championship of some sort before 2013 is over. But that, again, that's just me. And we only have 2 months left in the year, so, I mean, who knows if it's going to happen or not. I say before 2014 is over, Antonio Cesaro will be a world champion one way or another. I'm going to stick to that fact. This match, like I said, was made just so Cesaro could hit the giant swing on Khali. Not a problem. It's weird because you have the panel, you know, that do the pre-show panel that they've been using lately. It's The Miz, it's Titus O'Neil, it's Tensai. It's just so strange, and so odd, that group right there. Obviously, they took the Tons of Funk out, they took the primetime players out. Obviously, the Usos aren't working on the show, and yeah, no United States title match for Dean Ambrose. I'll talk about that later. Speaking of title matches, we get our next match is for the Intercontinental Championship. Curtis Axel defending against R-Truth. And Truth basically got this match because he won a non-title match over Curtis Axel. And he's got a couple victories lately. And he's basically trying to get back into contention. Don't forget, WWE fans, you may not be aware of this, but R-Truth is a former World Heavyweight Champion. That's right, R-Truth won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship in TNA. So, that makes him the second African-American World Heavyweight Champion in professional wrestling history. Obviously, Ron Simmons being the first. But they don't really talk about that. They can't talk about that because the NWA, even though they're completely broken off from TNA now, they were an affiliate of TNA at one point, and when that title did change hands and Truth won that championship, it was under the TNA banner. So, you can't really bring it up. I think JBL eventually might say something, but there's no one else I think that has the guts to say anything. So we get this thrown together match, and, we get midway through the match. Truth comes off the ropes, Axel catches him with a perfect standing drop kick, 1-2, and a kick out. So he locks on a chin lock. Truth punches his way out. He comes off the ropes, gets nailed with a lie detector, and remember when that used to be his finish? Charges in, and he gets the boot up. Back elbow, clothesline, goes for the scissor kick, and he misses, gets caught, wheelbarrow position into a forward roll, 1-2, and a kick out. Goes for the scissors kick yet again, nails it this time, but a glancing blow nonetheless, 1-2, and a kick out. Nails the hat rack crack, the sit out front suplex that he used to use as a finisher back in the day. He goes for the little Jimmy, and he gets swatted off. So, back kick on Axel by Truth. He lifts him up, does Axel, and drops him face first on the top turnbuckle. Nails him with the hatchet, and 1-2-3. Kind of a thrown together match that you could have seen on Raw, SmackDown, or I'll even go like main event or Superstars. Because it was just kind of there. It didn't really have a reason to be on pay-per-view. I could have thought of a lot better matches. Curtis Axel needs to lose the Intercontinental Championship soon. And I think he will. But I don't know exactly who it will be to. I mean, I would have said Kofi Kingston. Kofi, of course, ends up losing tonight, obviously. And I don't really know exactly who could take the championship from Axel at this point. I mean, Christian, maybe? Put him on Raw instead of SmackDown. You could do that. Cody Rhodes is a great idea if they're going to bring him back. Then again, is he coming back? I guess you have to wait till later in the recap to find out. So we get our next match for the Divas Championship. AJ Lee with her new bodyguard, Tamina Snuka. Apparently while I was gone, Biggie Langston got kicked to the curb, and Tamina Snuka is now the bodyguard of AJ Lee. Did not even realize it happened. And apparently also while I was gone, Brie Bella became a babyface. Interesting. Apparently they're going up with the fact that the reason she's a babyface now is because her engagement to Daniel Bryan has officially been announced on television, so they're going with that, and they flipped the script and made the Bellas babyfaces. Interesting. So, you can obviously tell that Brie works a lot with Bryan in the ring because her in-ring skills are getting a lot better, to be totally honest. So, we go midway through the match, and Brie nails a middle rope missile drop kick on AJ, 1-2, and a kick out. So, whip in, reverse, tip up by Brie, and she gets tossed to the apron. AJ kicks her in the knee and shoves her face first into the ring post. Very nice move right there. Toss her back in, 1 count only. So, slams her face into the canvas and drops all of her weight on the arm of Brie. So she locks herself in a hammer lock, and she does the front flip into the bridge, kind of like how the cattle mutilation used to be, but instead of the double chicken wing, it is just a hammer lock. So a hammer lock into a nice bridge. So Brie forearms her way out. So whip in reverse, gets the boot up, and gets reversed. Nice flying armbar by AJ, 1 count only. Again, so chokes her on the ropes right in front of Tamina, and the hammer lock, once again, tosses her shoulder first into the middle turnbuckle. So he charges in, and she misses. AJ with the elbows viciously away, locks on a Fujiwara armbar, a modified version of such. Brie again forearms her way out and drops her throat first on the ropes. So she skips around, she comes off the ropes, and Brie nails her with a nice drop kick. So charges through, rolls through the legs, rolls her up 1-2 and a kick out. So hair pull takedowns on 2 separate occasions. And then a third, whip in, lifts her up, and nice backbreaker, 1-2 and a kick out. Excuse me. So she nails the charging knee strike. And Tamina grabs Nikki at ringside. Of course, can't do anything because she's still injured. and pretty much ragdolls her. And you want to know what I mean by that? Go back to when Chyna got a hold of Marlena during Goldust versus Triple H. Yeah, that's the definition of ragdolling. That's exactly what Tamina Snuka did to Nikki Bella. So, this allows Brie to get temporarily distracted long enough for AJ to roll her up from behind, hooks the tights 1, 2, 3, and AJ retains the Divas Championship. Okay, so, AJ's still the champion. Do I think AJ's going to remain champion throughout 2013? No, I don't. Do I think she loses at Hell in a Cell? I think it's possible. I think that the X factor here obviously is going to be Tamina Snuka, but Tamina Snuka is going to help AJ retain the championship. It's kind of like how Biggie Langston would help AJ retain the championship if he was allowed at ringside. Obviously, due to the fact that he is so menacing, they barred him from ringside for AJ's matches. They did that right before pretty much they went their separate ways. But you have to look at it from this perspective. AJ has to lose the Divas Championship. Who's she lose it to? Is it Natty? Good answer. Right answer. But no, sadly not. Is it Caitlyn? Left on the back burner for the time being. And we saw her tonight, actually, in the celebration later on in the show. Actually, later on in the show, meaning actually next. We'll talk about that in a minute. I think if AJ's going to lose the championship, she will lose it to Brie Bella. And, you know, before I would have had a problem with that. Now, I really don't. Brie's actually showing that she wants to learn. She wants to improve in the ring. And she is improving in the ring week after week. And like I said, being connected to Daniel Bryan is probably pretty good for her wrestling skills, to be totally honest. Do I see another match at Hell in a Cell? I think that's probably a foregone conclusion, to be totally honest. Do I see a Lumberjill match in the near future? I think that might be the right answer. Have the WWE Total Divas on one side and the WWE Divas that are not on Total Divas on the opposite side, and then they do Brie versus AJ one last time and have Brie win the championship, and you make it really big, and you could even use it for next season of Total Divas, and I think that's the right decision. Apparently they were filming tonight at Battleground, so who knows? Maybe something will happen in the near future. Let's talk about one of the matches of the night. It's actually up next. So again, while I was gone, apparently, just like I believed, on NXT, Dusty Rhodes was fired, and JBL replaced him as commissioner. And Cody and Dustin, to get their jobs back, were told on Raw that they had to beat the Shield. So if they get past Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, then they get their jobs back. However, if they lose, they're all gone, Dusty included. So, we get this match, which is a non-title match. WWE Tag Team Champions Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns representing the Shield, taking on the Rhodes family, Cody Rhodes and Goldust, with Dusty Rhodes in their corner. This match was really good, by the way, and I was really happy with how it went over. Crowd was really into it, too, so kudos to everyone involved in this match. So, a boot in and a headbutt, whip in, and this is Goldust and Roman Reigns starting, by the way. And Goldust nails a clothesline off the ropes on Roman, tagging to Cody, and there's a knee by Roman Reigns tagging to Seth Rollins. So Rollins comes in, steps on the throat, whip in reverse, ducks the clothesline, and a knee lift, stomps on Seth Rollins, and he stomps him in the corner. So he ducks the clothesline, and Rollins flattens him with a flatliner to the middle turnbuckle, tagging to Roman Reigns, shoulder to the midsection, and makes the cover one, and that's it. So he holds him, tagging to Rollins, he pushes him into the turnbuckle, the knee against the back of the head, and nails the neck breaker, 1-2, and a kick out. So step over armbar from Rollins, and he punches his way out. Cody fights out of the corner. He puts him on the turnbuckle backwards, gets tied up to the Tree of Woe. He charges in, and Cody kicks him right in the jaw. So Cody nails him with a beautiful standing moonsault, and Roman gets tagged in. Hot tag to Goldust, whip in reverse, drop down, uppercut, and inverted atomic drop, and there's the 10 punch in the corner. Whip in, reverse, charges up, and he misses, goes up top, does Dustin with a 180 flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out. There's a headbutt, and a whip in, ducks the clothesline, and there's a back elbow. Dustin goes for the crossbody, and he ducks out of the way. He goes under the bottom rope to the arena floor. So Rollins tosses him up into the barricade upside down while he's tagged in, obviously. He comes back in at 9, rolls in 1-2, and a kick out. So kicks him in the head, 2 shoulder blocks, tags in Roman Reigns. So Roman with a chin lock, locks on a body scissors, and then back to a regular chin lock before Dustin punches his way out. So he comes off the ropes, and he gets nailed with a leaping clothesline, Superman style, 1-2, and a kick out. So he drags him to the corner, tagging to Seth Rollins. Rollins nails him with a slingshot senton, Eddie Guerrero style, 1-2, and a kick out. Locks on the chin lock. And then he puts him in the Shinanamaki, which is the Cobra Clutch, if you weren't playing at home. So he punches his way out, boot in, and there's a whip, and he goes for a drop kick. He gets telegraphed, tagging to Roman Reigns, charges in, gets the boot up, tagging to Seth Rollins, comes off the ropes, and power slam on Seth Rollins, tagging to Cody. Cody nails a springboard drop kick, clothesline, Holly kick on Seth Rollins, and he's down, and he spins with it, Alabama slam. Roman Reigns is knocked off the ring apron, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So he charges in, gets the elbow up, goes to the middle rope, gets caught with the muscle buster. He plants him right in the center of the ring. Reigns makes the save right before the 3 count. Beautiful disaster. Nails Roman Reigns, staggers him long enough for Dustin to clothesline him over the top rope to the floor. So Ambrose gets up on the ring apron. He gets knocked off. So Seth Rollins from behind with a clothesline to the back of the neck. So Dusty Rhodes has Dean Ambrose on the floor, and he's got his belt off, and he's got one of those ginormous Texas-sized belt buckles, and he pops Dean Ambrose in the face with it, and then he nails him with a bionic elbow, and he pretty much sends him down. So Roman Reigns is about to attack, and Dusty is about to get jumped, and Dustin nails him with a huge clothesline, and he goes down. So a roll up from behind by Seth Rollins on Cody in the ring, 1-2, and a kick out. Ducks the clothesline, Cody catches him, nails the vicious crossroads, 1-2-3, and the Rhodes family are reinstated in WWE. What an amazing match between these 4 competitors. After the match is over, we have a giant babyface celebration that includes Arn Anderson and Mike Rotunda and Fit Finlay and the Usos, Zack Ryder, Justin Gabriel, Brodus Clay, Caitlyn, Natty, and they're all here, and they're all celebrating the victory over what's best for business. The henchmen of what's best for business. Okay, so the Shield have to lose the WWE Tag Team titles now. So I think what they're going to end up doing is they're going to have a Tag Team title match either tomorrow night on Raw, or you wait till Hell in a Cell and we do it there. And maybe Dustin and Cody can have a short reign with the tag team titles. Wouldn't have a problem with that. I don't think that the Shield losing tonight was a hindrance to them. I don't think it hurt them at all, honestly. I think it was right for the right people to go over, right for the Rhodes family to go over tonight. And really awesome match, very enjoyable contest between these 4 combatants. So, not to be outdone, we get our next match of the evening, which is a singles match. Apparently it was set up on Raw Monday night. Of course, I didn't get to talk about. I didn't watch Raw on Monday night. Excuse me. I was at Splitsville Monday night when Raw was on, actually, to be totally honest. Right after Raw ended, because I was trying to get back for Raw so I could watch Raw at Splitsville, and it didn't really work out. So we get our match between Bray Wyatt and Kofi Kingston. It was a good match for what it was, too. Actually, let me see if I can find this wonderful promo. Give me a minute. So, hold on. Bray Wyatt. Yay, Bray Wyatt promos. Bray Wyatt promos are a thing of awesomeness. And if you don't know by now, then just do more homework. obviously, these are tremendous promos, and they always have been. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry to stop this right dead in its tracks, but nope. Apparently, I'm the only reviewer that actually does the Wyatt family promos word for word. Apparently, I can't do it tonight. Sorry about that, but we'll talk about it in a minute. I know, I licked my fingers in the middle of the video. Sorry about that. So, go midway through the match. Whip in, reverse, and Wyatt charges in, misses, and of course Kofi nails the kick to the face, the flip-up kick to the face. Goes up top, he gets crotched, and the charging avalanche as he's crumbling off the top rope, and he nails a falling headbutt, 1 count, and Kofi kicks out. Short arm clothesline, headbutt, and a grounded version of the Regal stretch. And he knees him in the face, does Kofi, breaking the hold. So a knee lift, a scoop slam, comes off the ropes, nails a big elbow drop, 1-2, and a kick out. So locks on a chin lock. And Kofi stomps on the foot. Backdrop suplex, gets countered into a crossbody, 1-2, and a kick out by Kofi. So he goes on the ring apron, and he goes for a slingshot, gets caught with a Bray Wyatt snap power slam, 1-2, and a kick out. So goes to the chin lock. He elbows his way out, tosses him to the ropes, ducks the clothesline, and the Austin Aries style crucifix driver does not get a pinfall, but obviously he doesn't even get a count at this point, but it's basically just to send Bray Wyatt down. It looked awesome. He nailed the double chop, and the double chop again, and the little standing drop kick, the leaping clothesline, goes for the boom drop, he nails it, goes for Trouble in Paradise, he ducks, and ducks the clothesline, the Fall of Humanity, which is that huge crossbody off the ropes. So, this is freaking creepy. He hangs upside down, and then he is completely in a back bend, and he does the Exorcist crab walk towards Kofi. Kofi freaks out, duh, and slides out of the ring, and that stops the momentum. So, Kofi comes back in, Wyatt charges, low bridges him, he goes over the top to the floor. So, he comes off with a nice tope con hilo, nails Bray Wyatt along with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, sends them all down on the floor, tosses Bray back into the ring, he goes up top, huge flying body press, 1-2, and a kick out, pushes him into the ropes, and goes for a sunset flip, gets blocked, he double googles him, picks him up, and he gets countered with a jawbreaker from Kofi, goes for the SOS, gets countered, Sister Abigail plants him, 1-2-3, Bray Wyatt wins. So, Rowan picks up Kofi, and the Bane-style backbreaker picks him up, tosses him into Harper, who nails the truck stop lariat, and that's the end right there. I'll paraphrase here because I couldn't get it all, but I was trying. Bray gets the mic and says, "There is no right, there is no wrong. All that is left is mannequins trying to force-feed you what their ideas of purity is. One by one they will fall. Follow the buzzards." Again, Kofi losing tonight, not a big deal. No shame in losing to Bray Wyatt, who has not lost a singles match in WWE yet. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Let me think if I'm right. If anything, hasn't really lost much, so I mean, there's always that. Where do you take the Wyatt family from here? Well, you gotta do something with Kane, obviously. Who's gonna be brainwashed when he comes back? Interesting to see what he does when he comes back. I think the Wyatt family need to really be, sicked on the tag team titles. And I really think Bray Wyatt needs to go after someone else. Now, the right choice, obviously, was to sick Bray towards a title. The problem is, the singles championships in the WWE are held by heels. Bray Wyatt, pretty much on the surface at least, is a heel. So what do? So many different things you could possibly do with Bray Wyatt, but I don't know what the direction is right now. I said it once, I'll say it again. I think the end game is Bray Wyatt against The Undertaker somewhere down the line. Don't know when, don't know where. I do think that's the end game. I think Undertaker goes through Harper, Undertaker goes through Rowan, Undertaker goes through his brainwashed brother Kane to get to Bray Wyatt. I think that Bray Wyatt and The Undertaker could have a Mankind Undertaker style feud. I think that would be the right direction to go. And I hope it's the direction they go. But again, only time will tell. So we get our semi-main event of the evening. CM Punk against Ryback. Again, apparently while I was gone, I didn't miss it because obviously last pay-per-view was Night of Champions, and I did get to do a recap of that before I left. Actually, right before I left. And it's funny, I leave for a pay-per-view, I come back to a pay-per-view. Interesting. Don't think I still wait for December. I'm not sure, though. I don't remember where TLC is in December. I think it's right when I come back. The weekend I come back. So, yeah, there was like this big hullabaloo that was on the internet about Paul Heyman making a proposal to Ryback, his big, beautiful Ryback, who saved his life against CM Punk and helped him pin CM Punk at Night of Champions. The proposal for him to become a Paul Heyman guy. So, that's what we've got here. And this is the match. So this is our semi-main event of the evening. CM Punk gets Ryback. Excuse me, it's late. I apologize. So Punk nails a tope, sends him into the barricade. So he crowns him off the railing, but he gets caught and driven hard into the ring post. So he goes up top, nails a flying body press, 1-2 and a kick out. So he nails the stiff kicks. And then a knee, pulls him into the buckle on his Ryback, and that sends him face first in. Puts him on the buckle and launches him off the top to the ring and tosses him ribs first into the ring post, like underneath the bottom rope into the ring post. There's a back kick, and he locks in a chin lock. He punches his way out. Ryback catches him with an overhead release belly-to-belly suplex, leaping leg drop, 1-2, and a kick out. So there's a big chop and a whip, and charges in, big clothesline, and he steps on Punk's head. Back elbow, chop, and then forearm, comes off the ropes, and he gets ran over by a huge clothesline from Ryback. So Ryback picks him up, hangs Punk out to dry. 2 shoulder blocks, and charging shoulder in the corner. Punk falls out, 1-2, and a kick out. Locks on a chin lock, and puts in the body scissors as well. So he rains down the forearms, does Punk, and charges in, gets the boot up, shoulder first to the ring post, and then the kicks to the hamstring from Punk. And it, straight kick right to the face. Whip in and high leg lariat from Punk. Spinning neck breaker. Heyman gets on the mic and says, "I'm the best in the world. I pinned CM Punk." And Ryback nails him from behind while he's distracted. Picks him up, power bombs him, 1-2, and a kick out. So he goes for a cover again, 1-2, and a kick out. One more cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So Heyman's beside himself, wondering what Ryback has to do to put Punk down. Like he should know by now, obviously, because Punk was his guy for so long. So he goes for a powerbomb again, much to Heyman's delight. Gets countered. Round kick from Punk. Slightly catches him. Charges him with a knee. Glancing short arm clothesline. Goes up top. Savage elbow. 1-2 and a kick out. So he nails the charging knee in the corner. And then he hits it again. And then a third time. But this time he gets caught in a powerbomb, which Punk counters him with a Hurricane Rana. And goes for the go to sleep. Ryback elbows his way out. Nails the over the shoulder power slam. 1-2 and a kick out. So repeated forearms to the back of the neck. Almost getting Ryback disqualified. Heyman pulls a Singapore cane out from under the ring. Referee catches him, and this allows Punk to back kick Ryback right in the groin. Ryback collapses, falls like a tree, and Punk pins him 1-2-3. Okay. So Punk needed to win this match, and I think that Hell in a Cell is the end of the Punk versus Heyman battle. I think that once Punk wins at Hell in a Cell, he will silence Paul Heyman for a while, and we won't see him until Lesnar comes back in 2014. I'm almost positive that's going to be the case. However, I do also hear rumors that Lesnar's going to be babyface when he comes back, and he's going to be facing Ryback. But there's just, like I said, there's a lot of things that you can go from here. I think what you do now is, once this is over with, you sick Punk at the WWE Championship, and we get something out of that. Obviously, the end game that everyone wants to see is Punk and Bryan at Mania. I don't know if they're going to go that direction, but it certainly would be a great thing if it did go that way. So, interesting match. Speaking of interesting matches, right before this, like literally right before this, there was a power outage in Buffalo. Everybody's feed went out. Whether you paid, whether you didn't pay, whether you were there live, your feed went out. So yeah, there was like DirecTV, all the pay-per-view channels. I mean, Sky Sports, always, it just said, we're really sorry about this. We're trying to get it fixed as soon as possible. So, we didn't even know if it would even come back. I was worried it wouldn't come back. So I started frantically looking for other things, other ways to see it. Sorry. I'm in debt right now. I don't mind to pay for these pay-per-views. But, that's okay, no big deal, because I buy tickets to SmackDown and Raw, and I buy WWE merchandise, so I help support the company in that way. So after the power comes back on in Buffalo, we get our main event. For the vacant WWE Championship, the Viper Randy Orton taking on the MVP of the WWE, Daniel Bryan. So, let's talk about this match, shall we? Bryan nails the Dragon Screw leg whip out of the corner, and he drops the knee on the knee, and he pulls up on the knee, and Orton grabs the ropes. Of course, he's tall and lanky, so he can pretty much grab the ropes from any point in the ring. So Bryan locks on a version of Jamie Noble's trailer hitch. He gets turned into an Indian Deathlock, and of course he rains down the forearms, just like he did back in ROH. So the stiff kicks in the corner. He puts him on the top, he gets shoved off. Bryan gets crotched via the shove off. He basically shoves him off the top, does Orton, and it crotches Bryan on the top rope. Orton clotheslines Bryan, Doomsday Device style, and flips him upside down, spins him like a top. Makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So, short arm clothesline from Orton, 1-2, and a kick out. Locks on the... No, not yet. Goes for the 10 punch. And then he steps on Bryan's throat. Charging clothesline. And then he charges in. This time Bryan gets the boot up. So he charges in. Gets power slammed by Orton, 1-2, and a kick out. So chin lock from Orton. Bryan elbows his way out. So he comes off the ropes. And high knee from Orton stops the momentum. So Orton picks him up. And instead of the slingshot suplex, he just hangs him out to dry. Bryan crumples to the canvas. Orton makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So whip in, backflip, and of course ducks the clothesline, and he tosses him over. Bryan goes for skin the cat, and he wraps his legs around the neck of Orton, using that momentum to send him over the top rope to the arena floor. Bryan charges, nails the tope, sends Orton in the barricade. So the yes kicks against the barricade. And he whips him hard to the barricade. He charges in with a drop kick, tosses him back in. He goes up top, he dives off, gets caught, powerbomb, 1-2, and a kick out. Orton locks in a St. Louis crab. Turned into an elevated crab, Bryan rolls out into a small package, 1-2, and a kick out. So Bryan goes for the yes lock, and he's about ready to lock it on, and Orton grabs the ropes to call for the break. So Orton goes to the floor to stop any momentum Bryan has. He charges in, Orton sidesteps him on the baseball slide dropkick attempt, and he gets sent hard into the ring steps. He pulls him chest first into the ring post. Nails the backdrop suplex against the barricade like normal, tosses him back in at the 9 count, makes a cover, 1-2, and a kick out. So Orton sits on the chest and pounds away. He puts him on the turnbuckle, goes for the superplex. Bryan punches his way out, knocks him off. Orton crotches him up top when he's about to dive again. Orton comes up top, nails the superplex this time, 1-2, and a kick out. So they trade uppercuts. There's an Aberdeen uppercut and a St. Louis uppercut. And they go back and forth. And eventually Bryan just nails viciously, like, over and over and over again. And it stops the momentum, and he gets caught with a backslide, does Randy Orton 1-2 and a kick out. So buzzsaw kick, nails him right in the temple, 1-2 and a kick out. Orton's on the apron at this point. He goes for the suplex to suplex Orton back into the ring. It gets blocked. Orton suplexes Bryan over the top rope to the arena floor. So he goes for a powerbomb. He lands on his feet, whips him hard into the ring steps. Bryan rolls back in at 8 to break the count. Rolls back in, kicks Orton, rolls back in, breaks the count again. Goes up top, flying body press to the floor, tosses Orton back in. Nails the swan dive headbutt, 1, 2, and Orton kicks out at 2.5. So he nails the charging drop kick once. And then he does it again. And he does it a third time. And then 4 times. Charges in while Orton is slumped down in the corner. Nails that leaping seated drop kick. And then there's the yes kicks. And he goes for the buzzsaw, gets caught, exploder suplex from Randy Orton. So he grabs Bryan, nails him with a snakebite DDT on the apron. Goes for the RKO after he pounds the mat like a moron. Tosses him off, goes for the buzzsaw kick. Orton rolls him up 1-2 and a kick out. Bryan counters in the yes lock. The Big Show's music hits. As Jim Ross used to say, business is about to pick up. So Big Show runs down, pulls the ref out of the ring. So Bryan leans his head through. You know what's going to happen here. And sure enough, WMD knocks out Daniel Bryan. So Brad Maddox, who has been put in charge of the entire event by Triple H, because Triple H had to leave earlier on in the show, he calls out, who? Yep, you guessed it. What's best for business is very own Nick Patrick, Scott Armstrong. And Armstrong comes out, and Orton makes the cover. 1, 2, Big Show pulls Armstrong out of the ring. Armstrong stands up, Big Show with a WMD knocks him out. So he's down and out. And the fans go crazy for this after pretty much booing the Big Show 5 minutes prior. So what they do is, Orton's beside himself. Bryan's down still. Big Show steps over the top rope, gets in Orton's face. Orton shoves him off. Big Show readies the WMD. Knocks Randy Orton out. Maddox is beside himself. Big Show's music hits. Orton and Bryan are both left in the center of the ring unconscious. And we have a no contest. The main event of your WWE Championship match at Battleground is a no contest. Now, what I was talking about earlier on in the show was apparently via WrestlingNewsSource.com there was some reports from the event live that the fans are pretty pissed at the finish of the match. Chanting refund and BS and, of course, not censoring it, of course. And the audience are not very happy about how the show ended. But I can see what they're doing with this. Okay, here's what I'm seeing. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to say the same thing. And they're going to say, oh, you're just copying other people. No, I'm just saying what I believe. Just happens to be people believe the same thing I do. So, here's what we're doing. Hell in a Cell. There's a cage. No escape. Then again, we've also had Hell in a Cell matches where we had people that hit under the ring the whole match. So that could still happen. My idea right here is Randy Orton loses to Daniel Bryan once and for all at Hell in a Cell. And this ends the what's best for business angle. As a matter of fact, I think you build it in the next couple weeks, and this is what ends this whole corporate angle. Because, from what I hear, this is going to be something that, I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm going to go with it. Rumor has it that the McMahons, including Triple H, are not going to be on television after Hell in a Cell. So you got to think this is going to be the end of what's best for business. And not too soon either. It's getting really ridiculous over and over again to see the same things happen over and over and over again. And obviously after tonight's match, The Big Show is not going to be in the good graces of what's best for business, and the Big Show Randy Orton matches we were talking about, they're probably going to end up happening. And I think they're going to happen without the championship on the line. I think Big Show and Randy Orton are just going to have wrestling matches, just grudge matches, and Bryan's going to be defending the WWE Championship against whomever. Do I know who Bryan's next challenger would be once he takes the championship off Orton? Honestly, I think a really good idea would be to get the championship, the U.S. title off Ambrose, and then sit Ambrose after Bryan. That'd be a bad idea. Or maybe you can put Ryback after Bryan. You don't really want to do that, but I mean, you could. There's so many different directions you could go, and I'm just totally clueless on what direction you're going to go at this point. Non-finish in this show, I mean, this was a throwaway pay-per-view, so I mean, it wasn't a big force, and it's not like it really extremely mattered. I mean, I see why the fans of Buffalo would be pissed, and the people that paid for the pay-per-view, I see why they would be pissed. But other than that, I mean, I guess you could see it was just a 3-hour Raw that was on pay-per-view that you paid $60 for. Some good matches. Like I said, I really enjoyed Rollins and Reigns against the Rhodes family. I thought that was really good. The kickoff match with Sandow and Ziggler was actually good. I very much enjoyed that. Brie and AJ was actually pretty good too, honestly. Bray Wyatt and Kofi wasn't bad. I mean, you had some filler, obviously, like Curtis Axel and R-Truth. That was kind of filler, to be totally honest. Van Dam and Del Rio wasn't bad. It wasn't as botchy as I thought it could be. I mean, it was alright. I mean, nothing to write home about. Ryback and Punk was okay. I mean, it was a good Raw main event. That was on pay-per-view. So, I mean, there's a lot of directions you could go, and a lot of questions to be answered after this pay-per-view, and of course, hopefully we'll get some answers tomorrow night on Raw or Tuesday night on SmackDown, Friday night on SmackDown. We'll get them Tuesday night on SmackDown, and I'll report back to you with those findings, because I don't have to work Wednesday morning, so I can just shoot that video and get it out to you guys on Wednesday, and of course going to B-Dubs Wednesday night, and Thursday back to work again, and of course we've got Captain Phillips and Machete Kills on Thursday night. TNA Impact coming up in the coming weekend. Of course, AJ's movie reviews, I talked about that. On Friday, those aforementioned reviews I just mentioned, plus the Curse of Chucky is going to be on the docket. Versus this week, the Crypticom and his family, and I got a Halloween Horror Nights recap coming up real soon, so stick with it. If you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. And if you want to tweet me, you can. It's at Sir Owen Disney. Send me an email, sure, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook. Friend me, be my friend, Owen Disney, very simple to find. In the meantime, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.